Hi, I'm Mary Fassell, and in this short video, I will offer a perspective on the ways that historians of medicine balance past and present knowledge. There's a tension between what we know now and what people knew in the past, and it's especially pointed when it comes to health and healing. If you take a History of Medicine survey course, you'll probably encounter these: the four humors, a medical system that is, I'd guess, a new and different way for you to imagine your body. Hot and cold, wet and dry, yeah, those are familiar from our experience. But most of us imagine the insides of our bodies in terms of solid, space-filling organs, not for fluid components. Or you'll explore therapeutics in the past and shudder a bit when you read about earthworms and bloodletting and wonder how they could possibly have thought that these were good ideas. Historians call this tendency to bring the concerns of the present into the past presentism. Here's what Lynne Hunt said about it when she was president of the American Historical Association back in 2002. She suggests that we have to be careful not to bring a kind of smugness about where we are now back into our reading of the past. Another related key concept we use to think about the present and the past is called Wig History. It's a concept first invented by Herbert Butterfield, a British historian back in the 1930s. It means a kind of history that presumes an inevitable march of progress towards an ever better future. It is called Wig History because it was first used to describe the history of how the British came to have a constitutional monarchy, something that was endorsed by the pro-Parliament Whig Party. Here's what Whig history means for our field. We might not want to think of medical history as one long, direct line of progress to our state of knowledge today. Here's how I think most people imagine the history of medicine. I made this graph up. It's just a heuristic device. On the y-axis is a scale I invented about the value of various interventions. I'm sure everyone would assign their own different set of values, or they'd pick different points. But pretty much any way you slice it, it looks like onwards and upwards. Is this wrong? No. But it is only one way to think about the past. This is a really hard concept to wrap your head around. I think it contradicts assumptions we all have, but we don't even recognize that those are assumptions. For now, I'd say just try this idea on, see if it might be worth exploring. For most historians of medicine, this kind of Whig history isn't a helpful narrative. Medical history isn't best thought of as the progressive shedding of bad ideas and the acquisition of good ones. It isn't a simple narrative of onward and upward. It's more complicated and, frankly, a lot more interesting than that. But let me be really clear about one point. It's not that I do not value modern medicine and its many accomplishments. My younger sister and brother would have both died as babies if it were not for modern medicine and the good fortune that our family lived in a big city and could afford sophisticated health care. Without them, my life would have been immeasurably the poorer. I don't want to live before anesthetics and antibiotics, thank you. But at the same time, I know that knowledge is provisional. It's always being made. And that, as the adage has it, half of what you learn in medical school won't be true anymore by the time you retire. But unfortunately, we don't know which half that is. So what might these ideas about the relationship between past and present mean in practice for us as historians? First, we have to respect what our historical actors say, however strange it might seem. Excuse the irreverent slide, but almost all of the most respected doctors in Western medicine before the 20th century were advocates of bloodletting. We have to be anthropologists of the past, investigating with an open mind. Our job is to try to figure out how and why they saw things as they did, rather than judging them as inadequate. Why did bloodletting make sense for millennia? It lasted for such a long time that obviously both patients and doctors thought this was a good idea. So why was that? What appealed to them about this practice? Second, we can't value something in the past because it seems to be a precursor of the right answer. We aren't awarding points for who sounds the most modern. Is it Hippocrates, who created a form of the case narrative, describing the natural history of disease at the bedside day by day? Or Dioscorides, the author of the first herbal? Or Herophilus and Erasistratus, who performed the first human dissections? History doesn't have to be about this kind of priority claim, of who got it right first, and who therefore looks towards modernity. So as we explore ideas about the body that seem alien to us or weird, and therapeutic practices that might seem even weirder, remember, we can be anthropologists who want to understand ideas and practices in context. We can't help but bring a bit of the 21st century with us as we read and explore the past. But the past is a richer place if the present isn't in the driving seat. Thank you.